I'm George Grace Jr. Welcome to Sunday evening, Peoria Municipal Band. Are you a fan of Sousa? Well, you're in luck because we got, a bunch of people like John Philip Sousa. We have several selections of Sousa tonight. And our trombone section will be featured. We vocalists, not one, but two. You kind of get a two for Carrie Tilley and Anton Grosh. Great concert lined up for you, so you would please clap very, very briskly because it tends to stir up a breeze. And welcome Carrie Tilley, and Dr. David Vroman.
Please stand if you are able for the presentation of Colors by Post 2 and join me in the singing of the national anthem.
Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. And a special thanks to Post 2. Give them another round of applause for taking a night and being here with us this evening. Got a couple of Park District announcements for you. I want to remind you that now, this year, for the first time in a long time, in fact, maybe ever, beer and wine is available up there in the concession stand. And they have a whole list of things that are available for you up there. And yes, they will card you, even if you're as old as Bill. Okay? So, oh, sorry, Bill. And then tomorrow night, if you're free, the movie is Peter Rabbit. It's right here, and admission is 50 cents. Okay, and then I'm to remind you about the July 3rd parking, that it is, parking fee will be $5, and those proceeds will go towards paying for those fireworks. Well, Sunday night we have a guest MC, as we often do, and he says that it all started at an FM station down in Sullivan, Illinois. In fact, I was just down in Pinckneyville for a family reunion, and he was in Carbondale for a family reunion because he had grown up in the southern part of the state before moving up here to this area. But when he was growing up, he lived most of his life here in the Peoria area and always loved to watch Peoria radio and TV, and he thought that would be cool to be on that someday. So he's the chief meteorologist at 25 News and HOI News since October of 2009, and before that he was at WMBD for 23 years. And so he's been in local radio and TV for 40 years, and he still looks young. It's unbelievable. Received a radio TV degree from Lakeland College in Mattoon and graduated from Mississippi State University Broadcast Meteorology Program. Please welcome Mr. Chuck Collins. Chuck.
Thank you, David. Always great to be here tonight, and not too bad of a night weather-wise. We'll be in the low to mid-90s next Sunday night, so just give you a preview of what's coming up. But anyway, it's always a blast to be here. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. The theme tonight, Suddenly Sousa. Sounds like something from the 80s, doesn't it? Yeah, Suddenly Sousa. But anyway, did you know that John Philip Sousa has a special day each year set aside for him? Anybody know what date it is? Anybody? 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 March 4th. March 4th, yeah. See, so he does have a day set aside. May the 4th be with us. Okay. Suddenly Sousa means you'll hear some of the music from the famous bandmaster of all time, John Philip Sousa. He and his band performed more than 3,500 concerts, 400 American cities between 1892 and 1931. Of more than 300 in the state of Illinois, 17 were presented right here in Peoria. Now, Sousa composed his cheerful Rossini-like overture as a prelude to Adolphe Eugene Philippe Dennery's play Overture, the Vulture. You see, Sousa's activities demonstrated time and time again he was a man of the theater. In fact, Sousa was in St. Louis touring with a company that produced musicals when he received a telegram inviting him to be the 17th leader of the United States Marine Band, which he promptly accepted and reported for duty October 1st, 1880. And even though he earned a comfortable living as the conductor of the Marine Band, he continued to invest considerable time and effort in creating works for the stage. He even wrote 3 complete operettas. Overture first came out as a song and then was published in 1886 as an overture for the play, but it's unclear whether or not it was ever used. Sousa, however, often performed this work as a concert overture later in life with his own Sousa band. So this is Overture Overture by John Philip Sousa. A contemporary of Sousa was George Percy Aldrich Grainger, better known to the world as simply Percy Grainger. Now, Grainger was an Australian-born composer, arranger, and pianist. His chief fame rests as a composer of unconventional and original music that was characterized by its shift from the standard convention. He employed meters which were irregular and unusual. And eccentric to the core, Grainger's private life was celebrated and scrutinized by his works. Born in Australia to an architect father and a domineering mother who was apparently a major influence in his life. His travels and studies took him to many countries, which included his long stay in Germany and England. He eventually settled in the United States at the start of World War I. The piece you're about to hear, Harvest Hymn, was one Grainger began work on in 1905, but didn't complete until 1932. The short work features a simple tune, richly harmonized with stately chords and decorated counter melodies. Grainger was also a concert professional pianist, and this is a transcription based on the piano solo version made in 1936. This is Percy Grainger's Harvest Hymn. I think I may need your help here because my page 3 printed out blank. And it's not matching up with the rundown, so I want to make sure that we have.
TJ?
Oh, so it's TJ then, okay, so I'm on track. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good, all right. Never mind. Our next segment of music is some from, let me try that again. Take two. Get the clapperboard out here. Take two. Our next segment of music is some folks' favorite. For years, this band has featured talented soloists from all around central Illinois, and this evening is no exception. Dr. Anton Grosh last year sang, and I was your guest MC at the same time, so we're back together after a year-long break. And it's interesting that accomplished musicians are unusually common among medical students. Didn't know that. You can even find a book by pediatrician Lisa Wong on Amazon entitled Scales to Scalpels. There's a joke there somewhere, but anyway, doctors who practice the healing arts of music and medicine, the title of that book completely. Let's introduce you to TJ. He's a graduate of Southern Illinois University School of Medicine in Springfield, which is his hometown. He moved to Peoria 5 years ago to begin his family medicine residency at the University of Illinois College of Medicine. He's now working as a family physician for Unity Point Health Methodist at the Junction City Medical Facility there at Junction Medical. He's also doing some teaching work at his former residency with medical students as well. We're glad he's remained in Peoria. We're glad to welcome him back to sing with the band once again. Please welcome TJ Grosh.
Good evening, thank you. I'm going to be singing two pieces today by Franz Schubert, both German Lieder, which is just kind of the German word for art songs. The first one is Du bist die Ruhe. It's a song about love, about how love is a complicated relationship that carries both feelings of peace and comfort, but also periods of stress and anxiety and pain. However, by the end of the song, it kind of builds to the conclusion of, despite all that, I'll take the good and the bad to fill up my life with love.
Du bist die Ruhe, der Friede mehrt, die Sehnsucht du und was sie stört. Ich weihe dir voll Lust und Schmerz zur Wohnung hier, mein Auge und Herz, mein Auge und Herz. Kehr ein bei mir und schließe du still hinter dir die Pforten zu, treib an den Schmerz aus dieser Brust, voll sei dies Herz von deiner Lust, von deiner Lust. Dies Augenselt von deinem Glanz allein erhellt. O fühl es ganz, o fühl es ganz. Dies Augenselt von deinem Glanz allein erhellt.
Thank you. The second song, also by Franz Schubert, is called Wohin, or Whither. It's about love, but this time about the love of nature. It's told from the voice of a man walking through the woods who happens to hear a river, and he follows the river as a call to something, a call to the wild or nature or something more basic that we can learn from the earth and the beauty of nature that can help settle us again from the distractions of maybe the more modern world. So this is Wohin.
Ich hört ein Bäcklein rauschen, voll aus dem Felsenquell. Hinab zum Tale rauschen, so frisch und wunderhell. Ich weiß nicht, wie mir wurde, nicht wer den Rat mir gab. Ich musste auch hinunter mit meinem Wanderstab. Ich musste auch hinunter mit meinem Wanderstab. Hinunter und immer weiter und immer dem Bachen nach. Und immer frischer rauschte und immer heller der Bach. Und immer frischer rauschte und immer heller der Bach. Ist das denn meine Straße? O Bäcklein, sprich wohin? Wohin, sprich wohin? Du hast mit deinem Rauschen mir ganz berauscht den Sinn. Du hast mit deinem Rauschen mir ganz berauscht den Sinn. Was sag ich denn vom Rauschen? Das kann kein Rauschen sein. Es singen wohl die Nixen dort unten ihren Rhein. Es singen wohl die Nixen dort unten ihren Rhein. Lass singen, Gesell, lass rauschen und wandre fröhlich nach. Es gehen ja Mühlenräder in jedem klaren Bach. Es gehen ja Mühlenräder in jedem klaren Bach. Lass singen, Gesell, lass rauschen und wandre fröhlich nach, fröhlich nach, fröhlich nach.
Thank you very much, TJ. Great German music there. I grew up next to a German family in Marquette Heights. It was the Brush family. We called the father Herr Brush. Sorry. Couldn't resist. When John Philip Sousa and his famous band were in Peoria in 1902, he was putting the finishing touches on a new composition he called the Looking Upward Suite. The inspiration for the first movement came on a crisp South Dakota night when Sousa was stargazing from the window of his train. The second movement was inspired by a particularly vivid advertisement about the steamship, the Southern Cross. Now, the inspiration for the third and final movement, Mars and Venus, was right over your head. You see, Sousa completed this work right here in Peoria while gazing at the heavens on a clear evening. As he looked into the sky, he recalled an old song about a soldier and a beautiful woman, bringing to mind the legend of lovers, Mars, the god of war, and Venus, the goddess of love. The song evokes feelings of love, sadness, and glory as the soldier goes off to war. From the Looking Upward Suite, this is Mars and Venus. Over the 81 years the Municipal Band has been in business, they've always been known for outstanding musicians, no doubt about that. Next, we're going to feature our trombone section. As they make their way to the front of the stage, let me introduce them to you. We have Mr. Carl Anderson, Mark Hansen, Maggie Sloter, and Greg Etzel. So we'll let them come up. And if you ever see a PowerPoint about trombones, it'll be a real good slideshow. They prepared one of the most famous trombone smears of all time for you this evening, Lasse's trombone. What's a trombone smear? Carl demonstrates. That's what that is. Sounds a little like vaudeville, doesn't it? Gives you a preview of what's coming up. You know, talk about trombone smears, though. I Googled jokes. You couldn't tell, could you? I Googled some trombone jokes. There's not nice trombone jokes out there, you know? Really, I would never ask the question, how do you know a trombonist is at your front door? Because the doorbell's dragging. I would never say that. No, but there's not very nice trombone jokes, so we're here to highlight the trombones tonight. And I will say, those of you who know me, I'm a big James Bond fan, and the 60s James Bond music done by John Barry, he used a lot of trombones, and they really come out. James Bond theme wouldn't be what it is today without trombones. There's a very big trombone presence, so I hail to the trombone section here tonight. Henry Fillmore wrote trombone smears for the vaudeville area of his time, and they were frequently performed by municipal bands worldwide. Even the Sousa band enjoyed performing this work, so here we go with our version of Lasse's trombone. this thing on? Okay, good. Now it's time for the Dr. David Vroman Birthday Trivia Show. Here's our host, Andrew Speeden.
Thanks, Chuck. Dr. Vroman, I understand you just had a birthday, the big 4-0, right? Yeah, okay. Well, happy belated birthday. We are going to celebrate with a special edition of Vroman Trivia. Here's how it works. Our 3 contestants, randomly selected from the band, will try to answer little-known facts about Dave's life. If they get it right, the money lady, Nancy Bohr, will give them the money, and you will hear this sound from Jeremy Clark. But if they get it wrong, the money lady, Nancy Bohr, will hand the money to Dr. Vroman, and you will hear this sound. I think they really practiced that. So let's meet our contestants. First we have David, baritone saxophone. David is a retired engineer and a really smart guy. Next, our principal flute player, Denise Cooksey. Denise is very strong and does Ironman triathlons. And last is Bill Bohr, trumpet player. We just picked him because he's so old. So the first question, what are the first names of Dave's mom and dad? Yes, Bill?
I know that. That is Mr. and Mrs.
Sorry, that's wrong. Dr. Vroman, you win this 100 penny bill. That's right, $1. All right, Denise, do you know?
Adam and Eve?
Sorry, wrong again. David, you want to take a guess?
Donna and Russ.
That is correct. The dollar goes to David. Next question. What is Dr. Vroman's favorite color of M&Ms? That's Bill.
Red and white for like Bradley. Pale red and...
Sorry, wrong again. David.
Yes, Andrew, that would be pink for Pinckneyville.
Now, Dave did teach in Pinckneyville early in his career, but pink is wrong. Denise?
I broke it.
Blue. That is correct. Now, our final question for the jackpot of all the money left. From what university did Dr. Vroman get his doctorate? David?
What's about a you?
Sorry, incorrect. Denise, you've been on a hot streak.
The Fred Huber School of Conducting.
That was close, but no. Wrong again. Yeah, sorry, Bill, go ahead.
It was the U of... I don't know.
The U of I is absolutely correct. And Bill wins the jackpot. Well, thanks for everyone joining us. Let's give a round of applause for our 3 contestants. And lastly, let's hear a big thunderous applause for Dr. Vroman, the birthday guy.
Anything to say? Okay, you're all right? All right, good. All right. Yeah, they made me do it. They made me do it. Okay. Yeah. You might be interested in knowing that Mrs. Sousa was also a musician. Mrs. Jane Van Middlesworth Bellis was the daughter of a Philadelphia carpenter and an understudy in a February 1879 performance of Gilbert and Sullivan's HMS Pinafore when she first met Mr. Sousa. In December of the same year, she became Mrs. John Philip Sousa during a semi-private ceremony at her home, and they were married 53 years. To close the first half of our concert, we have Mrs. Sousa's favorite march, The Thunderer. It was written in 1889 and dedicated to Columbia Commandery Number II Knights Templar of Washington, D.C. Sousa was knighted in that organization in 1886. So we know that the Thunderer, as stated in the title, was a Mason, but we don't know who it may have been. Sousa often found inspiration for writing from individuals that he had met, and sometimes we know where it came from. Other times, like in the case of the Thunderer, we do not. So enjoy Mrs. Sousa's favorite march, the Thunderer. Love a song with thunder as part of the root word there. This concludes the first half of our concert this evening, and my part is done, but don't go too far. The band commission is going to draw for a gift certificate, and the band and vocalist Carrie Tilley will be back after a short break. So once again, take a break. We'll see you on TV tomorrow night. Bye-bye.
All right, friends, as promised, we'll draw for a gift certificate right now, as a matter of fact. And tonight, it's a pair of certificates, actually, to the Market Grill at Hy-Vee store. Great food there, and they don't have to go too far to get it. Before we before we announce the draw, let me ask if that gentleman ever showed up. Remember, those of you that were here at 6:30, I asked if there's anybody here. Someone identified themselves last Sunday as having been to these concerts since they started in 1937. We didn't get a name. We don't know who it was. We'd sure like to say hi to you if you're here. Maybe you didn't come tonight. All right, we'll keep looking because we'd sure like to announce you. What we'll announce right now is the winner of these gift certificates tonight. Thank you for printing. Judy Hasselberth. Judy Hasselberth. Come on down. I see somebody waving and screaming. Judy Hasselberth, come on down. We'll give you the certificates here. Please be sure to visit the concessions booth up there and see what they've got for the treats tonight. We'll be back with the second half in just a few minutes. Thanks for coming, everyone. Judy Hasselberth, come on down.
Thank you. Composer of that piece? All those songs, who composed that? Aaron Copeland, that's right, American composer, and a lot of great melodies that are in there. Thinking ahead, you know, we're just a couple weeks, 10 days or so away from the fireworks that are here at Glen Oak Park, but also I want to remind you about this week. This week, Wednesday night, down on the riverfront, okay? And then Friday, St. Philomena's Church, and then next Sunday right back here. And then that following Tuesday, fireworks. So mark your calendar. We hope you can join us. Well, we have a number of people, we always talk about this, that make this thing go, and one of those people is our assistant conductor, Laurel Filzen Etzel, and she's going to conduct this next piece and tell you about it as well. So please give her a nice welcome.
Composed in the summer of 1984, James Barnes' Yorkshire Ballad was premiered at the Kansas Bandmasters Association Convention in Hutchinson, Kansas. The composer writes that over the years, many conductors and teachers have called me to ask about the work and whether the tune itself is in fact a folk song. Yorkshire Ballad is not a folk song, but it is written in that style. I composed this little piece so that younger players would have the opportunity to play a piece that is more or less in the style of Percy Grainger's Irish tune from County Derry. As we learned earlier, Grainger is a contemporary of Sousa. So even though Grainger's easier works are too difficult for most youngsters to do them musical justice, so I thought I would write a little piece that might emote the feelings and colors of Grainger's wonderful music, but at the same time was technically much more accessible. People always ask me what I was trying to portray when I wrote Yorkshire Ballad. All I can say is that I was thinking of the beautiful, green Yorkshire dales of northern England, the rolling hills, and the endless stretch of beautiful pasture lands that I loved so much. Enjoy James Barnes' Yorkshire Ballad.
Well, at the beginning of this evening's concert, you briefly met Carrie Tilley, and she's joining us after taking about a 28-year vacation from singing with us. Okay? It's been quite a long time. She started singing at the age of 8. Both her parents were very musical, and when she went off to school, she sang in a vocal jazz ensemble. She went to the University of Missouri in Columbia and participated in musical theater in her hometown of Hermann, Missouri. Who's been to Hermann, Missouri? Yeah, look at all those people, absolutely. And as well as in Naperville, she sung there, and of course Peoria, and also out in Connecticut. Most recently, she's been singing with our Peoria International Choir. Please welcome to the microphone, Carrie Tilley. Carrie?
Thank you. So tonight I will be singing a couple oldies, but they're still goodies. Well, not Franz Schubert old, but 20th century old, okay? The first one was written in 1937. It's been covered by so many artists, including Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, and Michael Bublé. This is My Funny Valentine. Thank you. So my next one is from 1938, and this became very popular during World War II when our boys were across the ocean. This is called I'll Be Seeing You.
All day
She did a nice job, didn't she? Wednesday night, we ran out of weather, is what happened. And so, you know, this was her chance to do those 2 songs tonight. Give her another round of applause. Would you please, Carrie Tilley? People always ask, they say, when do you decide, you know, whether or not you're going to play if there's a threat of rain? Well, we wait right up until 7 o'clock. And this past Wednesday, we knew it was coming, but we started at 7 and got about 40 minutes in. Then we ran for the cars. We hit the cars and it rained. So good planning always, okay? We're always looking ahead. Might be raining at your house, but it might not be raining where we are. And so we appreciate your support for any of these concerts that you can make. And if you see clouds in the sky, you might still try and come out, okay? Also want to remind you, Todd, did you have flyers tonight? And then some people had, I saw for the first time this evening, and if you want to take some flyers, both the Glen Oak Park District flyers and the Peoria Municipal Band flyers, Todd has those at the sound bunker down there. And we always say, take more than one. Don't take one just for yourself. Spread them around the neighborhood and let other folks know that summer is well underway here at the amphitheater and for us downtown as well. This next number features some great Broadway marches. It includes Comedy Tonight, I Ain't Down Yet, Hey, Look Me Over, Consider Yourself, The March of the Siamese Children, 76 trombones, and Before the Parade Passes By. You can only sing these songs if you sing in tune. Best Broadway marches. last John Philip Sousa piece for you this evening. It was written back in 1923. There's a little history that goes with this, way back when, and when you're talking about, how many of you remember the Shrine marching bands? Remember the Shrine marching bands and the colorful uniforms and things they dressed up in, and they were in parades and that. It was very active even around here, and that's outreach of what we call Janissary bands, which years ago, those were bands that would go along with the Crusaders and travel around, and so it's got some history to it. Well, Sousa participated, and he wrote this particular march in 1923, kind of remembering what Turkish music, Turkish Janissary bands sounded like. So this is John Philip Sousa's Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your support, whether it's here at Glen Oak Park or Wednesday nights down on Water Street, and this coming Friday night, St. Philomena Church and School. So if you're free on Friday, that's a 1-hour concert that we play there. And then, of course, next Sunday night, we'll be right back here. So we know many of you are regular concert attenders, and we sincerely appreciate that, and we hope you'll bring some folks with you and let them know the price is right, isn't it? With several people to thank tonight, first I want to thank Chuck Collins for coming out and emceeing. Give him a round of applause. And our two vocal soloists, T.J. Grosh, Dr. Grosh, and Carrie Tilley. Applaud wildly for both of them. I want to thank our trombone section. They'll stand up and take a bow. They're not shy, trust me. And then, of course, Mr. Todd Pelon out there. He's the guy that makes us sound good. So thank you, Todd. And a number of people up here on stage. Laurel Fils and Etzel is our assistant conductor. Kristen Sheets is our band librarian. George Graves Jr. is our band manager. Liz Driscoll, she does publicity. Carson Potts does everything. And then Frank in the back, he does a bunch of social media stuff. Give them all a round of applause, would you please? I'd also like to thank the game show tonight, and I think I made $5 tonight. My wife will be glad to know that I can now afford ice cream after the concert. Well, we close as we always do, giving you a few moments to reflect on what a great country it is in which we live. This is America the Beautiful.